everybody, I'm God's Girl Dawn, and thanks for coming back to see another edition of Celebrating Sisters. This week I've got my actual BFF, my best friend, and once we talk to her, you'll see why she needs to be celebrated. Not just because she's my best friend, but because she's a phenomenal woman. Her name is Miss Tamara Allen.
Hello.
Now,
I love how you introduce me.
Oh, good. We have to behave ourselves now.
Yes.
Tamara, you are a master of many things, but right now you're in the position of directing a lot of stuff at Who's Who.
Yes,
Publishing. So why don't you talk a little bit about that? Because you talk about what you do.
Okay. I am the Director of Operations and Creative Services at Who's Who Publishing. Who's Who Publishing, we do the Who's Who in Black Columbus. We actually are in 25 markets across the country. We do Detroit, LA, Atlanta, Houston. So, we're across the country. So we actually do all of the production here in Columbus. So I manage that office.
That was a good summary. But you do a lot more than that. You're also a mother.
I am. I have 4, as you know. One in every stage of development except for the babies now. I have 20, 15, 9, and 7.
My Lord.
Yes.
And then, you're also just a great friend. And I wanted you to be celebrated because you are often say that Tamara is to me my level head. So I can get she's like one of the people, you're like, and she's sitting just like this through the crisis. Then you look at her like, okay, help me pull it together. But why don't you talk a little bit about how you juggling it all? Because there are a lot of things. You actually have a book coming out soon.
I do.
Called Been There, Done That.
And Live to Tell About It.
And so you do so many different things, but you keep it all in balance.
Yes.
And why don't you talk about how you do that?
Well, actually, it's a process. I'm still trying to find balance, but that's my thing. I think that everyone needs to find that balance for themselves. I mean, we are all called to do many different things because we have many different talents. So my thing is I like to explore and do everything that I'm called to do, but there is balance. I'm a mother. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a full-time job now. So, there is a delicate balance. One of the things I try to do is I try to kind of block my days, which this is really true. I try to really block my days and kind of fit everything in. If I look on paper and I see that, oh my goodness, I'm not spending any time with my children, I kind of manage that. I try to make sure that I do a little bit of everything. So I do block my time, and that works wonders for me, being able to see my time on a sheet. A lot of
color-coded graph. But okay.
And it is color-coordinated. But what that does, that gives me a visual sense of what I'm doing and what's falling by the wayside. So I really do try to stick to that. And, I think the biggest thing with having a schedule and sticking to it is also being flexible and realistic. We have to allow for other things to come into our lives. I'm not that rigid that I don't do anything, or if someone calls me and say they need to celebrate, need to go out to dinner tonight, that I can't do that,
Right.
So I try to be flexible and realistic about it. But having that as a foundation really, really helps me. It lets me see where my time is being spent. On that chart, there's time for me, there's time for my children, there's time. I even have time in there for me to be creative and think, because I'm a creative person, and I have to devote time to that, or all this other stuff is null and void.
Right.
So I even try to put time in there to just kind of have a devotion to think and be creative and to receive all the creativity that I need. So I try to stick to that. And then most people who know me know that I have a little OCD, that I'm really a fanatic about things. So that helps me stick to it, and even to be flexible enough to change it. I try to do that.
Okay.
I do.
Now, another thing you do, she has her own advice column. She's the advice guru. And you also have a website, Sisters on the Move, where you talk about the importance of pursuing your dreams and finding balance in it all. And I know that that's a big thing with you, is pursuing your dreams. So why don't you talk a little bit about why you think people don't? And why it's important that they do. Okay.
Well, let me say this first, because I don't want anybody to get I don't want you to go and edit this tape and make me seem scatterbrained and I do all these things. So I just really want to say, though, I do a lot of different things, but for me, they all go together. I have the advice column. On my advice column, I give advice about everything from work, children, raising children, love, relationships. I try not to be that, love guru, because that's not really it. What I do more so is share my own experiences and try to help others.
Okay.
So I'm not telling people what to do, you do this, you do that. I'm just kind of sharing and giving them another perspective.
Right.
So that's what my advice column is, and it's really taken off. I am syndicated on EURweb.com. I'm also on a radio show out of California every Wednesday.
Okay.
And so I kind of just answer people's questions and kind of just really give my point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the column, though, you know, it's the same thing. I give advice on living your dreams, finding balance, raising children. All of that goes together. But I do have a website, which I have kind of neglected, but I have someone who's going to take it over for me. And it's kind of similar to what you do. It's really spotlighting people who are making moves. You know, whether they're a big executive, a CEO, or just someone who's really just trying to get where they need to be.
Right.
So that's really what that site is about. It's different stories, different tips and techniques on how you can find balance, or what we do that you might be able to make work for you. One of the things I tell people all the time, what works for me may not work for you.
Right.
So I can't go around telling everybody what to do and act like I got it all together. But I share a lot.
Right.
And, you know, you talked about the book, and that's really what the book is. You know, a lot of times, and you've heard me say this, that, you know, there are people who are killing themselves because they feel like they're the only people going through a particular situation.
Right.
And I think if people shared more and talked more,
Yeah.
I may talk too much,
Right.
but I know what to share and what not to share. But a lot of times I share with people just things that, you know, might help them along the way. And that's what the book is about. It's called Been There, Done That, and Live to Tell About It, because if I got through it, you can get through it. And that's really what it's about. I've been through a lot of things, but I've overcome a lot of things.
Right.
And so I just share that so people know that they're not alone. You could be sitting next to somebody and you're going through the exact same thing, and people are embarrassed to share,
Right.
or they don't know
Right.
who to confide in, you
Right.
know. And I always say definitely confide in the right persons, but you have to share and know that you're not in this alone.
Yeah.
And that's what the book is about. It's really not a book about me. It's just sharing,
Right.
telling my business like I do.
And one thing I always like that you say, even about your advice columns, is it's just advice. Like, I'm not really
it's my perspective trying
exactly.
to help you.
It's just giving you another perspective, and it is just advice.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, I am so glad to have you here and to celebrate you and say that I appreciate you. You have been just a blessing to my life. And I'm sure people who watch this will be able to glean from your wisdom. A great woman of wisdom and perspective. She just puts things into such good perspective for you.
Well, you know, I will say this, because, you know, I do have a tendency. I think I see things black and white and not a lot of shades of gray. But that can help me and hurt me at the same time. But I'm very practical, and I try to be practical. I try to attack those things that I can't change and kind of accept those things that I can't, but figure out how I can deal with them better. And that's really all that I do. But I do want to say this. I said, you know, because we have this thing between Don and I where I think, you know, I'm actually honored she has me here today, because you do have to celebrate your friends, and you do have to do that kind of thing. And we have this thing where we're saying we're Oprah and Gail. Sometimes I'm Oprah and she's Gail. Sometimes she's Gail and I'm Oprah. And I'm all right being in the spotlight. I'm also all right carrying her bags to her event. So, you know, that's how we get down.
And we do. That's how we get down. Really.
And I think that a lot more women should be like that. It's really not about, okay, it's your time to shine, I'm there with you. Is it my time to shine, I need you with me.
Exactly.
So I think that's really what is great about our friendship. So I just wanted to say that.
Yes, it really is. We have both been Oprah and Gail
we are Oprah
at different occasions, and that's awesome. And I'm honored to allow you to shine, just as I know you're honored when I shine.
Right.
But the important thing is we both shine.
That's right. We both shine. Put on your sunglasses.
This is my girl, my BFF, a woman you love to know, and I'm glad I got to share with you today and share you with other people, because you are a phenomenal lady doing some wonderful things in this community, in the lives of your family, in the lives of those around you. So I want to celebrate you today, let you know I love you, and I'm glad for you being here today.
Thank you.
Tamara Allen, everybody. Tamara Allen. Hey, listen, thanks so much for joining me for Celebrating Sisters. If you would like to celebrate a sister, make sure you log on to our website at mycolumbusjoy.com. Make sure you hit me up. I would love to celebrate her too. Until the next time, keep celebrating your sisters.